Department of Homeland Security can be scattered to the winds.
If only. Permanent than a temporary government program.
The Freedom Fiends now have a free app for your Android phone, tablet, phablet, or other Chrome robot turd, available now from the Google Play Store, Amazon, and FreedomFiends.com. Lovingly handcrafted by head hamster Michael W. Dean, the artisanal Freedom Fiends radio app allows you to listen live, keep up with the podcast, chat directly with other fiends, get discounts on bigger buttons, brainwash yourself with a 24/7 random episode, and so much more. You know the Freedom Fiends is the best libertarian radio show in the world, but when the fiends aren't live, you can use the app to listen to LRN.FM from anywhere. The Freedom Fiends radio app is like having a virtual libertarian re-education camp in your pocket. It's your gateway to the exclusive high-demand group that is the Freedom Fiends. Install the Freedom Fiends radio Android app today. It's free, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. And get ready for lip hair with the Freedom Fiends radio app for Android. Worms.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, May 19th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.51 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,250 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $454. Antiwar.com reports reiterating similar warnings from late last week. Pentagon spokesman Colonel Steve Warren on Wednesday warned Iraq's government against responding to the latest round of the Islamic State bombings by redeploying more troops into the capital city of Baghdad. Colonel Warren said the Abadi government wanted to send more troops to Baghdad before, but that the Pentagon told them they need to keep their foot on the gas and leave their troops out in the field fighting the Islamic State forces on the front lines. Warren's previous warnings came after last Wednesday's massive the Islamic State bombings, and the new comments are a response to subsequent Tuesday bombings, which killed another 77 people across Baghdad and which are fueling growing unrest. The Abadi government was already facing public protest over the lack of reform, and those protesters are accusing them of deliberately not defending the city's residential areas, with what security is in Baghdad deployed primarily to keep protesters out of the green zone. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been your trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Orders Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg took time out of his busy business and philanthropic schedule on Wednesday to meet with several prominent conservatives and discuss the concerns of some that fear the influential social media giant leans too far to the left. The meeting occurred amid criticism from some in the conservative community that Facebook's offerings online, particularly news, have too great a liberal tone. The meeting, held at Facebook's Menlo Park, California headquarters, included conservative talk radio show host Glenn Beck. Zuckerberg wrote on his Facebook page after the meeting Wednesday. This afternoon, I hosted more than a dozen leading conservatives to talk about how we can make sure Facebook continues to be a platform for all ideas across the political spectrum, adding the reality is conservatives and Republicans have always been an important part of Facebook. Donald Trump has more fans on Facebook than any other presidential candidate, and Fox News drives more interactions on its Facebook page than any other news outlet in the world. It's not even close. Earlier this month, Senator John Thune said he sent a letter to Zuckerberg with concerns that the service is too liberal in its content. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports the Chicago City Council on Wednesday agreed to pay $3.2 million to settle cases where two men were fatally shot by police officers who were part of a department now under fire for racial bias and excessive use of force. The settlements come as the third largest municipal police department in the United States grapples with a strained relationship between officers and minority communities, and a federal probe that was launched after the release last fall of a video showing a police officer fatally shooting a teenager. Bill McCaffrey, a spokesman for the city's law department, said Chicago had paid more than $500 million in police misconduct payments since 2004. Chicago City Council agreed to pay the family of Ryan Rogers $1 million. Rogers, a 27-year-old father of two, was shot in 2013 after he tried to drive away from his East Hazel Crest apartment, which police had been staking out as part of an investigation into a cell phone robbery ring. The council also approved $2.2 million in payment to the estate of Emmanuel Lopez. Lopez was 23 when he was shot in 2005 after he forced an off-duty police officer's vehicle into oncoming traffic, hit another car, and then pinned a different officer with his vehicle. The attorney for the Lopez family could not be reached for comment, though he previously said the officers had concocted a defense for shooting an unarmed man. Protests erupted in Chicago last year following the release of the video of Officer Jason Van Dyke's shooting of teenager Laquan McDonald. Van Dyke was charged with first-degree murder in November. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
After vetting the 37-year-old for factors such as looks, screen presence, and film credits, Hollywood insiders unanimously agreed this week that area man Dennis Kiernan lacks the sheer star power necessary to carry a major motion picture. Industry experts spoke to reporters today about the Charlottesville, Virginia resident, who they say just doesn't have what it takes to crack into the A-list.
Love him or hate him, I think we can all agree that Dennis Kiernan is not a bankable star. He's got to have sex appeal, talent, charisma, and most importantly, that X factor. I should want to sleep with Dennis. I should want to be Dennis. Do I want to be Dennis? No.
Experts agreed the Virginia native and father of one does not have the widespread appeal required to secure a distribution deal with wide release, while also saying they had no reason to believe Kiernan would ever be capable of delivering the type of powerhouse performance that generates buzz at Sundance, Cannes, or Comic-Con.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We'll give you the call-in numbers here momentarily. You can call in, talk about whatever is on your mind. You can join us on the airwaves. The us tonight is Darryl,
Chris, and Conan.
And something that we teased last night, I believe, is apparently shocking reports out of Colorado that arrests for cannabis have dropped tremendously for white people, while minorities have been arrested. Numbers that, according to the Free Thought Project, arrests have skyrocketed.
Higher than before.
Higher than before.
How many minorities does Colorado even have? Aren't they kind of in the New England kind of treatment where this is...
Colorado is nowhere near New England. Colorado is the Rockies.
No, why do you always do that? I know that. I'm talking about the same demographic.
I don't have the demographics in front of me, but Denver has a much higher population than the entirety of New Hampshire.
It is a diverse population, too. Denver's a very diverse town.
Right, and large population cities tend to have a decent minority community.
Mm-hmm.
But this is interesting because Colorado has, supposedly legalized cannabis, right? Remember, we were told back in 2012, voters in Colorado voted to legalize weed. Well, there are certain things that are legalized about it.
It's not legal to grow it without the.
It's not legal to grow without permits. There's limits on how much you can possess, and it's also still illegal to consume in public. Let's jump into the story here again from the Free Thought Project. They say a new report by the Colorado Department of Public Safety, and I looked up this report. It's 147 pages.
Woohoo!
Because I was wanting to summarize, but, well, they've done the summarization for me. The new report by the Colorado Department of Public Safety found that since the legalization of cannabis in their state, Black and Latinos have found themselves being targeted by, with extreme prejudice. Arrests for minorities soar for marijuana. Persecution of their white counterparts has dropped. According to the report, between 2012 and the end of 2014, this is important because legalization went into effect the beginning of 2015. So went into effect beginning of 2014 after it was voted in 2012. According to the report, between 2012 and the end of 2014, after cannabis was legalized, arrests for black adolescents between 10 and 17 years old increased by 58%, while Latino adolescents arrests of Latino adolescents went up 29%.
Question, here's a thought. Whenever the weed was legalized, did also the population of police follow suit? Did they lose numbers, or did
the police were not delegalized?
No.
The number of police has not shrank.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's
They retained their numbers probably. And
why
now,
would they not?
Because I know. Well, I'm talking to the public. I'm not talking to you. No, they did not lose numbers, which they should have, because there's a lot less to do. So now that it's legal, oh crap! What do we do, Joe?
Exactly.
Let's go after the people we can get away with, and that is going to be kids and minorities.
Right. People that don't have the means to fight it in court.
Correct.
So during the same period of time, and again, this is from 2012 to the end of 2014, after legalization went into effect, blacks, specifically between the age of 10 and 17, arrest went up by 58%. Latinos of the same age, arrest went up 29%. Caucasians, those that look like you and I, Conan and Chris, arrest of those teenagers declined by 8%. Since legalization, Colorado schools have seen a 34% increase in the number of marijuana arrests, most of which are for possession. However, in spite of relatively similar usage among the various ethnicities, the report says the drug suspension rates are lowest in schools with a smaller proportion of minorities. Schools with the highest proportion of minorities have a drug suspension rate 110% higher than the schools with the lowest proportion of minorities. According to the report, it's not just minority teens who have seen a spike in persecution for possessing a plant. It's their parents, too.
So what you're saying, Darryl, is not only has this state picked up all of this tax revenue off of the weed.
Millions of dollars.
Millions and millions.
But the war on drugs has not stopped at all. It's just switched gears and changed over to the guys they can get away with. So it's still in full force. Except now you're creating more of a divide, and because you got those whiteys with their privilege, this is creating an even bigger trench of divide. That's going to be felt for years and years and years.
Well, and a couple things. I mean, first of all, we can't say the war on drugs has been taken out of the picture in Colorado or Washington or D.C. or anywhere else. It's strictly about marijuana, and there's a whole lot of other drugs out there. So I'm sure the police just argue the point that, you may have taken it, but it's just going to move over here, and we're going to have just as much to do.
Hey, I'm curious as far as harder drugs are concerned, if they have felt a decline since weed has been legalized.
Well, I've heard that, and I can't remember the story, but the gist of it was the trend in downward deaths from opiate pills has followed the legalization in everywhere it's been tried. So that's all I can speculate on that. I'll try to dig that up. That was a good story.
And the other good statistic would be youth actually trying it and liking it and smoking it. And since it's no longer taboo, how many teenagers actually partake?
Well, it's still illegal in Colorado for someone under the age of 21 to possess cannabis, and that's what this is all about, is arresting teenagers for possessing cannabis. So just because it's legal for adults to do it doesn't mean it's legal for the kids.
Well, like you said, 8% less in the white population, so those kids are getting away with it more often.
And I'm interested. I mean, this is one of those things that you follow long term, but what we've seen from Portugal's more drastic steps in the war on drugs in entirety was a decline in usage among youth. Fewer people were taking up drug use at all ages, so it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. What drives me nuts is I see these headlines, I've been seeing them for the last year, is how we're supposed to come up with these assumptions about whether this is a success or whether this is a failure after a year. Mm-hmm. You know, it's going to take time, and I will say this too. I know. So part of my other job gets me some propaganda sometimes, and one of those pieces of propaganda was the official statement on marijuana from DARE. Whatever DARE stands for, everybody knows.
Drugs are really epic.
Is that what it is?
Or drugs are really expensive.
Yeah, but part of this was, it was DARE responding to some allegations that were made that DARE had decided to kind of go soft on pot because, it's starting to become legalized, and we got medical marijuana.
Is this the entire industry or foundation, or is it just in New Hampshire?
Entire DARE. But one of the things that stood out to me was, a paragraph that said Colorado is not a success, and it basically went on to point out all the horrors that have come out of.
Yeah, look at all these Hispanics and blacks that are being arrested. These underage Hispanics and blacks. It's skyrocketed.
This was typical DARE scare tactics, talking about how horrible it was and how all the states around Colorado are now dealing with this horrible. The exportation of Colorado marijuana and violent crime is up everywhere else except for Colorado. It's insanity.
That's what we get here in New Hampshire with our alcohol. New Yorkers, Vermonters, everyone coming, Massachusetts.
Right. So speaking of this, it's being exported. Did you see the thing where I think it was USA Today ran the story and they had the map?
Yeah.
But they had Wyoming highlighted, not Colorado, and they're like, here's where all the cannabis is going from Colorado.
Oh, fire that guy.
And somebody quickly pointed out, yeah, that's actually Wyoming.
Yeah, but they do that with New Hampshire and Vermont a lot as well to get us confused.
Yeah.
We're the 69 states, but we're not the same.
You're just making stuff up.
Look at them on the map.
You can call in and you can make stuff up as well. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Somebody teach Conan how to do math. There's only 50 states.
52.
51.
Considering going back to school? Ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-958-5345. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-958-5345. That's 1-800-958-5345.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can call in with your thoughts on the supposed legalization in Colorado that, well, apparently it's not preventing everybody from being arrested. We'll continue that story here momentarily. But as I said, your call's welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Then stop using their money. There is an alternative: Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you right now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. Back to the story from the Free Thought Project about the skyrocketing arrest numbers for minorities in Colorado. Let me just go back over a little bit of these numbers from earlier. They said that schools in Colorado have seen a 34% increase in the number of arrests for cannabis, most of which are for possession. Arrest of white teenagers has declined by 8%. Black teenagers have increased. Arrests have increased 58%. Latinos arrests are up 29%. And according to the report, it's not just minority teens seeing a spike in persecution for possessing a plant, it's also their parents. In spite of cannabis arrests plummeting after legalization, ethnic disparities grew among those still being arrested. In 2014, black adults were arrested and cited for cannabis-related offenses at almost triple the rate of white people. Back in 2012, blacks in Colorado were being arrested for cannabis crimes at a little less than double the rate of their white counterparts. Even the war on cannabis is crumbling due to its immoral nature, or rather, even as the war on cannabis is crumbling due to its immoral nature, we are still seeing the racist intentions behind its beginnings. And that's the thing, is that the drug war was largely bred out of racism.
Mm-hmm.
There was the propaganda that, the black jazz musicians were using cocaine and stealing the white women.
Yep. Stealing's one way of putting it. Yep.
There was the claim that the Mexicans were smoking marijuana, something that most Americans had never heard of until the propagandist created the term. People knew it as cannabis. The scientific name of the plant is cannabis. That's why I call it cannabis. I don't use the fearmonger name marijuana to describe the plant. And technically, this is just a weird aside, if you get caught in Alabama possessing marijuana, and on the arrest or the citation, they spell marijuana with a J, technically you should be able to get let off on a technicality because the criminal code spells marijuana with an H.
Marijuana.
Yes. The article here from the Free Thought Project continues. John Daniel Ehrlichman was counsel and domestic policy chief to Richard Nixon. He was a key figure in events leading to the Watergate first break-in and the ensuing Watergate scandal, for which he was convicted of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and perjury, and served a year and a half in prison. Aside from the conspiracy of Watergate, which, when compared to today's politicians, seems like schoolyard pranks, Ehrlichman, while serving under Nixon, was part of a much larger and far more detrimental conspiracy that is still playing out today, the war on drugs. In a March report in Harper's Magazine written by Dan Baum, Ehrlichman came clean on the real reason behind the war on drugs: to criminalize minorities and hippies. According to Baum, he tracked down Ehrlichman in 1994 at an engineering firm in Atlanta, Georgia. Quote, "You want to know what this is really all about?" Ehrlichman bluntly asked Baum of the drug war. The Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies: the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or to be black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and the blacks with heroin and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
Yeah, it's too bad that no one ever talks about these things. And they do every now and then. They'll kind of slip it in there real quick, but they never talk about it. It's just we gotta get these drugs off the street.
Yeah.
Never mind why the war on drugs really started the way that it did. Whether it be hemp, the lobbyists, the cotton lobbyists fighting hemp, or whether it be politicians who are trying to actually remove peoples from being able to vote.
I was really surprised the Ehrlichman story didn't get more legs. I think that was a astoundingly honest revelation from, literally right out of the birth of the modern war on drugs.
I'm actually not surprised it didn't get more legs, and this is one of the reasons that I give Conan a hard time on stuff, is, people are going to look at this and be like, oh yeah, so he said something 40 years later. Yeah, it's already happened. Nobody cares. We're not going to change anything.
I know that's the apathetic look, but to me it was a story. And
I
agree with it, disagree
people
with
should
it.
have paid attention to it.
Right.
But again, I think the reason people didn't is they're like, oh, it happened so long ago, we can't change anything.
Right. I get that part of it. I'm just, sometimes those little revelations come along. It's sort of like when, a conspiracy theory gets proven to not be a theory. You don't get nearly as much press about that as you do about the conspiracy theory itself.
Right. We've talked about this, but what would it take to actually, to one of these big conspiracy theories, what would it take to wake people up? And if it's if it's more than 10 years after the fact, then it doesn't work. People they say, well, it happened so long ago, it couldn't happen again, Chris.
Of course not.
We've learned our lessons.
Even if, and I don't think this is ever going to happen, but even if the sitting president of the United States holds a press conference, removes his human mask, and reveals that he actually is some kind of shape-shifting lizard, and explains every conspiracy and exactly how it was pulled off by some globalist group, that does not undo any of the legislation that was passed.
I think if that happened, some big changes might occur. But
I don't know. The president taking off his human mask and review that would be news.
It would be news, but it would not undo any of the legislation.
If Trump gets elected and he comes out and he says he comes out with this big secret that he's hoarding, keeping to himself, and we
Trump's
find out
hair is the flying spaghetti monster.
We find out
talk about it along with your calls. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
We all have heard about the benefits of fish oils, but what about the presence of heavy metals, PCBs, dioxins, furans, and other contaminants found in fatty tissues of fish? GCNteam.com recognizes this risk and offers IFOS certified tested omega-3 fatty acids. EPA, DHA insist on IFOS omega-3 fatty acid certification. Get the best at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-3733. That's the toll-free call-in line where you can call in like Sarah has done. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, I wanted to mention, those caged hens, those bent hens.
I've met every caged hen ever. We're buddies.
Well, the thing is, I was told that actually the U.S. government buys it back from these farmers because nobody wants the meat because it's so low grade. They grind it up and they slip it into our school lunch programs and senior citizens programs. And, neither one of them knows what they're eating. How could a little kid know?
Who doesn't want these caged chickens you're talking about?
Well, the Campbells, the regular Campbells and stuff like that is such a low beat up meat that nobody wants it. So what happens is that the U.S. government buys these meat back from these farmers, and then they grind it up and slip it into school lunch programs and senior citizens.
Is it poisonous?
It's not poisonous, but it's not good enough where you can't. You won't. If you went to the supermarket, you can't buy it. If the chicken that you're buying.
Well, are you talking about the pink slime stuff that was big in the news a couple years ago?
Right, no, I think she's just talking about low-grade meat.
Well, no, keep in mind that the older the egg layer hen gets, the less you are able to eat the meat. So what you do is they become stew chickens. You put them in a stew, and you grind them up, or you make some kind of chicken sausage out of them. You can't you can't cook them till they're tender, or you can. But
what happens is that they're being slipped into these government lunch programs, the senior citizen and children, and then neither one of them, they don't know anything. So that this is kind of like very sneaky, and this is like government secret that nobody wants them to know about. What happens to these hens. So
it's not like the good old days when I was a kid, and it was a well-known fact that most of what we thought was beef was actually horse meat. This is in the late 70s, early 80s.
They're still doing that every now and then.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a little horse. I mean, it tasted fine in a taco.
I'm still confused about the claim that it's the federal government that's buying the chickens and then grinding them up and feeding them to old people.
Well,
where did you get this information?
Yeah, I'd like to see this link because I'm going to say that any producer of chicken is going to have to deal with older chickens, and they're going to grind them up and they're going to slip them into soups and stuff because they can't sell it as whole meat in the meat department.
And they probably sell a lot to dog food manufacturers.
The reason that the government buys it back from them because nobody wants it. In other words, Albertsons and Smith, you try to sell these meat. It's like, we don't want it. We don't want to grind it up. The sausage is just horrible meat. Nobody's going to buy it. We don't want it. And so then what happens is the government buys it back. So, but I don't know, I heard this on a late night show one night, and it was like, the people from the egg people that deals with I don't know if they were trying to stop the caged hens, or I don't know if they were how much they were involved, but one of the guests spoke about this. So I'm pretty
I've
sure
heard a lot of weird things on some late night radio, Sarah, and 90% of it I don't believe at all.
No, well, I would like to see this story because I would not be surprised if
I don't think it's real.
If the government has some program, maybe it's not chickens, but maybe it's grain or something where they buy back grain.
Buy back, or they subsidize it some way to get it to go to market for some use. I don't doubt that.
And they might be just buying it back. It might not be going to the old people or the kids' school lunches. They might just be burning it or burying it somewhere. I mean, but I would not be surprised if they're buying something back that is not capable of being sold any longer.
And generally, the food that the U.S. government will buy from people to manipulate the food supply, they wind up just throwing in the ocean. They don't feed it to old people and school children. Sarah, thank you for the call.
I think I would wager that given the lobbying efforts of Archer Daniels and other big, huge Tyson and those corporations, there's probably some legislation. Maybe somebody can research this and let me know. But I'll bet there is some regulation that says, if you produce or if you have leftover grade C meat, then you will be allowed to sell it to these specific programs.
Or like a dog food company or something.
Remember there was the big news story a couple of years ago about the pink slime.
Yeah.
That was like the unusable parts of chickens that was ground up and turned into like the chicken nuggets. Okay. And as long as it's a private entity doing it and they're not stealing money and forcing people to pay for it, I have no problem with it. They
taste really good.
I'm not denying or doubting Sarah's claim that somebody is using every part of a chicken.
That's efficiency.
What I am disputing is her claim that it's the government doing it.
Agreed.
And feeding it to old people and school children.
I think what should bother people more is how much lobbying money goes into probably allowing this to occur.
Mm-hmm.
And probably, I'm just going by example, excluding smaller producers from being able to take advantage of the same fruit. So in other words, some guy in the middle of Kansas who happens to grow a few beef cows and he produces a very fine cut of beef. He can probably sell like grade A, and you know what I mean, whatever the top one or two grades are. But it's the factory farmer down the way who's got billions of dollars in lobbying behind him who's allowed to get into this very lucrative selling of less desirable meats.
This is true.
I bet that's...
Small businesses know that government is not their friend because it does not work for them at all.
So speaking, Chris, of farmers harvesting certain animals for certain things, what is the moral implication of not just crossbreeding humans with animals, but what's the moral implication of eating such an animal?
That just turns my stomach, Darryl. I don't even want to go there. I think that would be horrendous.
But what if it tastes good?
You're right. They do call man long pig, don't they?
I don't know. I've never heard that. And
it is true.
Mine's not corkscrew, so I've never been given that nickname. But no, you do have a story about some scientists somewhere that are trying to like crossbreed, or not even crossbreed humans and animals, but put some kind of human cells into a pig embryo so that they can grow a pancreas that could be transplanted into humans with diabetes.
How bad did he just mess that up?
He kind of gets the gist of it, but I'm going to take the scientist side, and I'm going to say scientists are searching for a way to save lives. And then we'll talk about the story and how they intend to do so.
And then, because I did hear a talk radio program that I don't normally listen to earlier today talking about this, and one of the people on that show had some interesting thoughts and interesting commentary that I will intersperse once we do actually get into this story.
Sure. So with no further ado, this comes to us from NPR. The headline is, "In Search for Cures, Scientists Create Embryos That Are Both Animal and Human." A handful of scientists around the United States are trying to do something that some people find disturbing, making embryos that are part human and part animal. The researchers hope these embryos, known as chimeras, could eventually help save the lives of people with a wide range of diseases. One way would be to use chimera embryos to create better animal models to study how human diseases happen and how they progress. Perhaps the boldest step is to create farm animals that have human organs that could be transplanted into terminally ill patients. But some scientists and bioethicists worry the creation of these interspecies embryos crosses the line.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe some Frankenstein-ness is going on?
Maybe a little Dr. Moreau.
We'll delve into this a little bit more, and, of course, your thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What do you think? Should humans be crossbred with pigs?
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
Readers rejoice! This week, Amazon unveiled the Kindle Flare, the latest model of their popular e-reader. The improved device has the ability to loudly and repeatedly announce the title of the book you're reading so everyone knows how smart you are.
Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut.
The hot new e-reader includes a massive catalog of titles, a sleek, easy-to-use interface, and a loud, clear voice that barks the name and author of your book on a loop. Amazon says the repetitive shouting is a small feature that makes a big difference. Readers say that with crystal clear 150 decibel stereo speakers, the Flare provides the most conspicuous reading experience yet. When you're not reading, the Flare automatically switches into bookshelf mode, which conserves power and reads off a list of everything on your Kindle.
Blink by Malcolm Gladwell, a confederacy of dunces.
And Amazon's competition has also stepped up their game as Apple released a new iPad that whispers, "I have an iPad," over and over again.
This is the Onion News Network.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can call in, talk about whatever is on your mind, even if it's some weird, crazy, outlandish claim that the government is feeding chicken tendons to old people, even with no proof that it's happening. You can call in, 855-450-FREE. We'll get back to this story about the genetically modified pig human something with a pancreas sort of thing. And, of course, your calls. But have you missed the healthcare deadline and you don't have any form of healthcare? Well, Liberty Health Share has the answer. Liberty Health Share offers an affordable healthcare option that allows Americans to enroll any time of the year. For those of you who have already enrolled but just aren't satisfied with what you've chosen, there is still hope. Liberty Health Share allows Americans to control, manage, and direct their health care, yet still be in good standing with the Affordable Care Act. Members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on individuals for not having health care insurance, thus giving you freedom from insurance. Liberty Health Share empowers their members by giving them the ability to choose any doctor or hospital across the nation. Memberships are for individuals, couples, and families, offering a variety of options to best suit an individual's medical needs. If you're a freedom-loving American looking for a contract-free health care, then this is for you. For more information on how to enroll any time of the year, call 855-585-4237. That's 855-585-4237. Or visit libertyhealthshare.org to request a free estimate. Let's go to the phones. We've got Glenn calling in from Pennsylvania. Glenn, you're on Free Talk Live.
Greetings, fellow long pigs.
Can you back off of your phone just a hair?
How to cook.
Yeah.
How to cook man.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, how to serve mankind.
Yeah.
How to serve mankind. Yeah, there we go. It needs garlic. Anyway, if this chimera thing gets loose from the lab, we're all going to need Bellerophon shots, or the world's going to be crawling with Cantwells. It's not good. No, but come on. That was easy. Come on.
My only fear of anything chimera is not that, because it's doing a lot of good, but what happens if something happens and you have a lot of organisms out there that aren't able to replicate themselves, aren't able to procreate? You'll have wipeout. You'll have extinction of some. Maybe all our cows are developed this way, and something happens like the potato blight in Ireland, where the whole country lost all its potatoes because of a little disease.
Actually, that's a myth. You know that, right?
Oh, tell me more.
There was no Irish potato famine. The Brits just stole them all to feed their armies when they were clearing the Scottish Highlands and stuff.
Ooh.
The Brits stole all the potatoes, all the food.
Don't feed that thing to Conan. Now we're going to hear about.
Check it out.
We're going to hear about potato.
I'm looking into it. I'm Googling it right now.
Check it out. Myth of Irish potato famine. The Brits stole all the food. Anyway, all right. Actually, I'm calling about Rutland, Vermont. The mayor of Rutland, Vermont, population approximately 17,000, surreptitiously cut a deal to bring in 100 refugees without consulting town council, local government organs, and stuff like that. And that's a big scandal. That would elevate them overnight to about 0.6% of the population. And I've been thinking right along. I've been thinking when you get this topic of the refugee thing comes up with you guys, I'm thinking, how are they going to feel when this hits Keene, New Hampshire? Population approximately 23,000, not immune from we now see the sleepy little New England towns are no longer, are not immune from this.
We already have our own problems with bums, bums in downtown.
But I don't know.
Enough talk about the politicians.
I know.
I don't know if I've ever eaten at a Syrian restaurant, but I think that might be
there's a
interesting.
lot. There is a lot of
Middle Eastern food.
There is a lot of open space here in New Hampshire, as well as the country in general.
We end up having to allocate some of it for no-go zones.
What do you mean?
I might decide to make my own property a no-go zone, but I'm not going to, prevent people from wanting to come live here.
About the fact they tried to, that the Muslim communities aren't assimilating, aren't integrating, they're isolating, and then there are places in Brussels and stuff, and these various major European cities where even the police can't go, and then local people can't go, and they tried to say this didn't exist, and then after enough video proof got out there in the internet and alternate media, they finally had to admit that this does happen.
Okay, so Glenn, let me ask you a question. It sounds as though you have a problem with people not, quote unquote, assimilating and forming their own little communities. Do you have a problem with places in Manhattan like Chinatown, Little Italy?
Well, we have Chinatown right here in Philadelphia. No, but because these aren't people who are raping the locals and sending Sharia enforcement squads and beating people up and telling women how to dress and stuff like that. It's never been like that in Little Italy or Chinatown. Yeah, that's
I don't buy your claims that any of the refugees have done any of the things that you're alleging either.
Don't you read the news? A guy just got beat up. Guy just got beat up the other day with his family. This local this was in Europe.
Right.
A local guy and his wife and daughter or something are out on the town. And the local Sharia enforcement squad's telling the women that they should go home and, cover up. And when the guy tried to say, well, wait a minute, this isn't, we're not under Sharia law here, they beat the hell out of them.
Well,
okay?
I for one, don't disagree that this stuff has certainly gone on in Europe. There have been lots of cases, there's lots of video out there, and there's just lots of evidence that it has occurred.
There are bad people that do bad things.
Exactly.
There are bad people that were born and raised in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania that have done horrible things.
And
you're rationalizing. Okay, now this is look. Okay, now what's
you're trying to demonize an entire 1 billion people because of the actions of a few people.
Let me speak to
Go ahead. Speak to your bigotry.
No, it's not bigotry. You're willful ignorance and sticking your head in the ground. When you look at the history of religions, okay, certainly there have been times when, like, say, when Catholicism had civil power, and you had everybody loves to highlight the Inquisition and stuff like that.
No one expects.
Okay, so if you look at the origins of the religion, you might have a peaceful leader. People like to look at Gautama Buddha or Jesus Christ or something like that. There is no look historically at the personal history of Muhammad, who himself claimed not to be a prophet, by the way, and his actions and the actions of his followers at the inception of Islam, and try and construe it. And he's not some sort of Buddha figure saying, "Oh, love God, be at peace with your fellow mankind." That is not what Islam is how it started. Okay, the man was a land pirate. He never engaged militaries. He always attacked villages, and after he killed off all the indigenous Jews of the regions where he was invading, they started to go after the Christian communities, and the Byzantines finally engaged them.
Okay. I think we can agree on the history, and I don't disagree with you there. And I'm often taken at odds by some of my friends because I don't buy that that the Islamic religion was started as a purely a religion founded on the same principles that I think I would see from a libertarian point of view. I agree with you on that. What I disagree with you on is that the introduction of any group of people automatically means that will happen. You're saying that if this occurs, then this will occur. Well, that may happen in some areas and it may not happen in others. I, for one, if I saw an uprising of Muslims or prairie dogs for that much, who started to behave like this, I'd certainly stand up against them, and I'm sure others in my community would too. Maybe they don't in Europe.
Look at some of the precursors of what's already. Look at they call Dearborn, Michigan, Dearbornistan now, and some of the stuff that goes on there with the Sharia stuff. Okay, there is definitely a subversive element of wanting to implement Sharia law. Okay, they work diligently and stridently to put people in positions of political power, and then start talking about Sharia law. Okay,
Glenn, you are aware that Sharia, like Levitical law for the Jews, is something that Muslims opt into. It's not something that they force upon anyone. And the people that claim that Sharia gets forced on people do not understand Sharia. Glenn, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome in our number 2, 855-450-FREE.
Could you use up to $35,000? No need to shop around for loans anymore. LoanUS.com is a convenient online way to connect with a lender based on your unique background and provide you a loan of up to $35,000. And LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. Use the loan to pay for emergency expenses, medical bills, debt consolidation, home improvement, large purchases, and even taxes.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, May 19th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.51 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,250 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $454. Antiwar.com reports reiterating similar warnings from late last week. Pentagon spokesman Colonel Steve Warren on Wednesday warned Iraq's government against responding to the latest round of the Islamic State bombings by redeploying more troops into the capital city of Baghdad. Colonel Warren said the Abadi government wanted to send more troops to Baghdad before, but that the Pentagon told them they need to keep their foot on the gas and leave their troops out in the field fighting the Islamic State forces on the front lines. Warren's previous warnings came after last Wednesday's massive the Islamic State bombings, and the new comments are a response to subsequent Tuesday bombings, which killed another 77 people across Baghdad and which are fueling growing unrest. The Abadi government was already facing public protest over the lack of reform, and those protesters are accusing them of deliberately not defending the city's residential areas, with what security is in Baghdad deployed primarily to keep protesters out of the green zone. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been your trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Orders Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg took time out of his busy business and philanthropic schedule on Wednesday to meet with several prominent conservatives and discuss the concerns of some that fear the influential social media giant leans too far to the left. The meeting occurred amid criticism from some in the conservative community that Facebook's offerings online, particularly news, have too great a liberal tone. The meeting, held at Facebook's Menlo Park, California headquarters, included conservative talk radio show host Glenn Beck. Zuckerberg wrote on his Facebook page after the meeting Wednesday, "This afternoon I hosted more than a dozen leading conservatives to talk about how we can make sure Facebook continues to be a platform for all ideas across the political spectrum," adding, "The reality is conservatives and Republicans have always been an important part of Facebook. Donald Trump has more fans on Facebook than any other presidential candidate, and Fox News drives more interactions on its Facebook page than any other news outlet in the world. It's not even close." Earlier this month, Senator John Thune said he sent a letter to Zuckerberg with concerns that the service is too liberal in its content. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports the Chicago City Council on Wednesday agreed to pay $3.2 million to settle cases where two men were fatally shot by police officers who were part of a department now under fire for racial bias and excessive use of force. The settlements come as the third largest municipal police department in the United States grapples with a strained relationship between officers and minority communities, and a federal probe that was launched after the release last fall of a video showing a police officer fatally shooting a teenager. Bill McCaffrey, a spokesman for the city's law department, said Chicago had paid more than $500 million in police misconduct payments since 2004. Chicago City Council agreed to pay the family of Ryan Rogers $1 million. Rogers, a 27-year-old father of two, was shot in 2013 after he tried to drive away from his East Hazel Crest apartment, which police had been staking out as part of an investigation into a cell phone robbery ring. The council also approved $2.2 million in payment to the estate of Emmanuel Lopez. Lopez was 23 when he was shot in 2005 after he forced an off-duty police officer's vehicle into oncoming traffic, hit another car, and then pinned a different officer with his vehicle. The attorney for the Lopez family could not be reached for comment, though he previously said the officers had concocted a defense for shooting an unarmed man. Protests erupted in Chicago last year following the release of the video of Officer Jason Van Dyke's shooting of teenager Laquan McDonald. Van Dyke was charged with first-degree murder in November. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, the Forest Service rolled out a brand new Smokey the Bear campaign in which the popular mascot burns to death. They say they hope the shocking turn will get people serious about preventing forest fires for once. The new campaign depicts Smokey the Bear noticing a family leave a flame unattended. Before he can put it out, the entire forest is consumed and Smokey dies in agony while trying to fight the blaze. Despite educating the public for over 70 years, the Forest Service says wildfires have only gotten worse and it was time to take their warnings to the next level. The new ads aim to show that if Smokey the Bear can be killed by the very type of fire he works so tirelessly to prevent, it could happen to anyone at any time. So what's next for the long-running campaign? Well, now that their primary spokesperson is out of the picture, the Ad Council says the PSAs will shift focus to a new character named Little Brian. He's the boy whose family caused the fire in the first place, and he's grappling with crippling guilt over Smokey's death.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And we will hopefully get back to the story about animal-human hybrids for organ harvesting, maybe. I don't know. I heard part of a story on a show earlier today, and they were making it sound like it's all about harvesting organs. I've not actually read the article. One person in the room has read the article, I think. He's at least read part of it on the air, but
he did his homework.
I do my homework.
We'll get
Darryl,
back into
on.
this, but first, your calls. We go to New Jersey, where we have Conan. I'll let you introduce this guy. You know who it is.
This must be Ralph. Tell us, Ralph. Tell us about the great Satan.
Yes, indeed. The animal-human story. I mean, you know by now that Obama is a wild animal, a black bear, a lying African in the White House.
So you're saying, hold on. So you're saying that Barack Obama is an animal-human hybrid?
It fit really well with our story.
From your lips to God's ear. But, this man has been propped up by either the white guilty in this country, okay, or the self-hating white, and they can be found in the media, in the academia, and in the, the Democratic and the Republican Party. You got those, you got those kind over there. But that being said, this wild animal, by virtue of the power bestowed on him by Satan, is bringing about the black plague into this, the black plague into this country. What do you think of that?
Literally, the Black Plague?
The Black Plague, this is how he presented himself. This is how he presented himself at Rutgers University. And by the way, I just find out that Rutgers University has an elective course. You know what's the name of the elective course? It's called White Guilty, and primarily they talk about white privilege in that course. How do you like that?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
That's kind of like made, the order for Obama right there. That's the reason why he has a receptive audience in there, and the rest of us is cringing about.
Hold on. So how is Obama connected to this college class?
Because he's a college professor.
Well, the media and the academia work hand in hand, because you got the self-hating white and the white guilty in both of those places, and they are mutually exclusive, by the way.
Well, I think you're forgetting the government, too. I think that the Obama administration is tied in closely with the media and tied in closely with academia.
And he surrounds himself, he's including this man, Ben Rhodes, he surrounds himself with white guilty and, self-hating white people. This is the kind. And given the fact that this wild animal is the black plague of our time, I can only think of, Trump as not only the antidote to Obama and the anti-Obama, but our deliverance from, the influence of the great Satan Obama. Wow. Well, I mean, we're coming into that moment now here in New Jersey as we get into the days and the weeks ahead, and we will have the primary here. And honestly, I am never Hillary because of the fact that you can tell the difference between an Obama and a Hillary. It's like the leopard doesn't change his spot, okay? And there are some outstanding issues that still need to be dealt with regarding Hillary. Number one, what has he accomplished? Okay, for the most part, Obama has failed. Where has he succeeded? And what's the difference between Obama and him? And I would like to see, an all-out brawl in that Democratic convention, just like the riot that took place in Chicago. You remember that one, guy?
Of course.
I mean, that's gonna be
So Ralph, let me ask you this question, and then I'll have to let you go because we got other people on the line. Who are you planning on voting for in November? You a Trump guy?
Trump, yes, all the way. Trump all the way, of course.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Let's go to Patrick calling in from Arizona. Patrick, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how you doing today?
We're doing well. You're on the radio. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to call and clear the air and thank you. A couple of weeks ago, I called in and we sort of debated on the radio, and you sort of threw me a curveball with a question. I'm a retired law enforcement and pretty much set in my ways, But I just wanted to let you know that the one thing I've learned over the years in law enforcement is you can agree to disagree on topics. That's how you better improve your knowledge. I wanted to thank you. I appreciate the debate and let you know that, in some ways the world is changing, and it's really hard when you get older, set in your ways, to make those changes because you're still trying to hold on to a little bit of the past.
Sure. So, Patrick, let me ask you this, because I vaguely remember talking to you, but I don't remember what we talked about. What was the question that was asked that you said sort of changed your mind on something?
Well, it really didn't change my mind. You threw me a curveball. I wasn't expecting the question, but you would say if I would arrest Harriet Tubman back, in the Civil War days. And it brought me to some thought. I mean, you don't think about those things normally.
Right.
And, I'm like third, almost fourth generation law enforcement. And it's really hard to understand what you were asking. I don't know if I would or not. I really don't. I mean, and that's just being straight up honest with you on that. But it's funny because I was raised, we had a house that overlooked the Civil War cemetery, and a lot of my ancestors were buried out there. And, it was a different time. I mean, we're talking California, so it would be against slavery,
Right.
My generation. But I just wanted to let you know that I really do enjoy the variety. They're getting to a point where either you're extremely on one side of the coin or you're on the other side of the coin on a lot of these programs. And I just want to thank you for keeping an open forum to your program. It really does help educate people out there because being a law enforcement, you don't make many friends. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, certainly. I think a lot of libertarians are a little too harsh, if you will, on law enforcement because a lot of libertarians forget that at one time they thought that government was the solution to things.
You bet.
And so, people forget that, as the saying goes, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So you really need to try to connect to somebody on a personal level. And Patrick, thank you for calling in, and I hope you call in again in the future.
And by the way, libertarians are going to need security forces.
Yeah.
In their little utopia at the end of the day.
Be nice to find some people some experience.
Yep. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Hopefully we'll get back to this man-human-pig thing.
Every once in a while you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, But now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and negative articles can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? ReputationDefender.com can help protect your good name. Get a free consultation now. Call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from ReputationDefender.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com today.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is down $12 at $1,247 per ounce. Silver is 53 cents lower at $16.40 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $448 US. Compared to Monday's open, gold is down $30 and silver off by 80 cents. This is a great time to buy on the dip. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll go back to the phones here in just a moment. But could you use up to $35,000? Well, there's no need to shop around for loans anymore. LoanUS.com is a convenient online way to connect with a lender based on your unique background and provide you a loan of up to $35,000. And LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. Use the loan to pay for emergency expenses, medical bills, debt consolidation, home improvement, large purchases, or you can even pay your tax bill with it. LoanUS.com connects you with lenders but is not a lender or broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan terms, loan amount, and other loan details will vary. See loanus.com for more details. Let's go to Skype. I keep forgetting to mention this. We do have Skype. Username is lrn.fm. We've got Rod from Canada. Rod, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, guys. About 2 segments ago, you were talking about Sharia with a caller. And then when you closed, you said, well, you don't understand Sharia. And I think that if you say that, it's like saying that if somebody criticizes the U.S. government, you could say to them, oh, well, you don't understand the Constitution.
Well, the guy was, and let me recap for anybody that might not have heard the call. He was saying that there are people in Philadelphia and Europe that are forcing people to comply with Sharia. And I have several Muslim friends that are involved with Muslims for Liberty, and I'm genuinely curious about Sharia because I hear stuff talked about in the news a lot. And so I asked, what exactly is Sharia? And they explained, and they said it's very similar to Levitical law, but for Muslims, to where it only applies to people that agree to abide by Sharia. So if someone is saying that they're forcing you into Sharia, then they're not actually forcing you into Sharia, because Sharia cannot apply to someone that does not consent to it.
Darryl, but that's a very legalistic view, and the world does not believe that. Like there is like 1 billion Muslims in the world that believe that their states are Muslim states and they live under Sharia. And just because, Muslims for Liberty, they believe that, and a couple other people believe that, that doesn't mean that, the Saudis are not beheading people.
I never said that the Saudi government did not behead anyone.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. I think that when you guys make these blank statements, you guys don't understand Sharia. I think you're being too legalistic, and you don't understand what people mean by Sharia.
So, because words have definitions, and I think that words should be used in accordance with their definition, I'm somehow being legalistic.
Yes, you are, because that's why.
So, are you saying that words should not have definitions?
I am saying that, for example, some of your co-hosts don't describe themselves as anarchists, even though the dictionary definition would be correct. They use the word voluntarist because it doesn't work. You have to use the words in the way that people understand them.
And here's another thought, and I kind of agree with you on this. There's certainly the legalistic or the literal meaning of words, or in how some things may be described, but I think there's also the practical implication. So if I'm a Muslim and I'm living in a very large community of other Muslims, and a majority of those Muslims, or maybe even a very violent minority of those Muslims, decrees that anybody who lives in these 10 square blocks is going to abide by Sharia law, I may be forced into it. Would you agree with that?
Yes, to a certain extent you might be.
Practically. I'm not saying that you would agree with it, but it may just be sort of a repercussion.
But I have spoken to gays that say that they would not step foot in a Muslim country because they would risk for their own lives.
Sure.
And at some point, you have to realize that it's not just, a little minority that is oppressing these people and oppressing women in their own homes. There's also a huge component of the society itself,
the culture,
oppressing these minorities. And it's not about race, it's not about religion. Some of these communities are back in the 16th century. I'm sorry, they have not evolved along with many of us. And some of these people don't even know how to read. Like the refugees that are going to Europe, many of them don't even know how to read or write their own language. Of course these people are not going to be integrating. Of course these people are, don't understand that you're not supposed to touch women just because they're dressed, with the sexy clothes. But I think the main point of this is that you can't just take this legalistic attitude towards the word Sharia. You have to understand what people mean when they say that, and you can make a clarification. Actually, if you look at the Quran, that's not what Sharia means, but the world understands that word in a very different way from the people at Free Talk Live. That was my main point.
Yeah,
I will agree with the final point that most of what people call Sharia is not what the Muslims that I know would identify as Sharia, and what I know of Sharia is what I've been told by the Muslims that I've interacted with. And you mentioned that there's some homosexual people that say that they would never go to some Muslim-run countries, and there are certainly some supposedly Christian countries that homosexuals also would not go to. Uganda is a perfect example. Most people in the United States think that Uganda is an oppressive Muslim country. No. Uganda, point of fact, the vast majority of the people that live in Uganda identify as Christians, not Muslims. And Uganda is the country where I'm not sure if they've repealed the law, but at least up until recently, it was punishable by death to be homosexual in Uganda. And that is supposedly a Christian country, not a Muslim country.
But I hate when we get into this trap where...
That's very bad, but that's really an exception, whereas the majority of the Muslim countries have it, written down that homosexuality is a crime, so you have to make
and
a
that's
difference.
Because that has a lot more to do with their culture than their religion.
Exactly, Darryl. That's exactly the point.
Right, and
that's what people understand by Sharia. It's cultural, it's political, and it's religious.
No, that's not. No, they
into
believe that it's all about religion and not about culture. And we could continue. We could continue debating this until the cows come home. Rod, I do thank you for the call. And what are your thoughts on this? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. What are your thoughts? Sharia, not Sharia? Is it cultural? Is it religion?
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Phone records, financial and location data, Prism, Tempora, X-Keyscore, Boundless Informant. Hey, y'all, Scott Horton here for offnow.org. Now, here's the deal. Due to the Snowden revelations, we have a great opportunity for a short period of time to get some real rollback of the national surveillance state. Now, they're already trying to tire us by introducing fake reforms in the Congress. And the courts, they betrayed their sworn oaths to the Constitution and Bill of Rights again and again, and can in no way be trusted to stop the abuses for us. We've got to do it ourselves. How? We nullify it at the state level. It's still not easy, but the Off Now project of the 10th Amendment Center has gotten off to a great start. I mean it. There's real reason to be optimistic here. They've gotten their model legislation introduced all over the place, in state after state. I've lost count, more than a dozen. You're always wondering, yeah, but what can we do? Here's something important, something that can work if we do the work. Get started cutting off the NSA support in your state. Go to offnow.org.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free. That's 855 450 3733. And hopefully we'll get back into this man-bear-pig story because I'm really interested in the whole thing.
I like how you add an animal every time we bring it up. So,
Are you cereal, Darryl? Are you cereal?
No. What?
If you're gonna go man-bear-pig, you got to know your cereal.
Like Bootios?
Just go.
Bootios
do your
prevent you from being booty.
Some people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I have absolutely no clue. But I do know that if you have a box of Bootios and you get in the Wayback Machine and you go to yonder, like go back in the past, then Bootios become derriere squares. I learned that from the New Day on Monday night.
Now you've gone where I don't
Those
know.
are wrestling references, by the way.
There we go. That explains it.
Yeah.
Wait, you can say wrestling, but I can't say 69?
I said wrestling.
Oh.
With a W.
Listen to my mind.
As in, like WWE, pro wrestling, Hulk Hogan, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you with me here?
Yeah, I heard wrestling.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not that intelligent.
What?
But
man,
come on now.
The discussion has sort of shifted from this man, bear, dolphin, pig thing to a discussion about various governments and the way they operate. And some people have been trying to just, make it all about religion. And it's not. It's, largely driven by culture. But, Chris, in the break, you hit it right on the head. It's all about government. No matter where the stuff is happening around the world, where, certain countries have laws that say fill in the blank, that's governments doing that.
Yeah, and a lot of it, throughout history has had its roots in religion, but in the end, it is some group of people that have been either seized or been granted some power over other people, and they're going to choose to exercise that to further their beliefs. And I look at Islam, I look at Christianity, and I can look at like American exceptionalism as all religions. You know what I mean?
You mean American exceptionalism / imperialism / spread some democracy all over the
keep
world?
Going, yeah, wherever you want to go with it, but worshiping any entity, it's going to have some commonality.
And one of those commonalities is coercion, because modern states commonly deploy coercion in a wide array of circumstances in which the resort to force would clearly be wrong for any private agent. What entitles the state to behave in this manner, and why should citizens obey its commands? In The Problem with Political Authority, Michael Huemer examines theories of political authority from the social contract theory to theories of democratic authorization to fairness and consequence-based theories. Ultimately, no theory of authority succeeds, and thus no government has the kind of authority often ascribed to governments. Huemer goes on to discuss how voluntary and competitive institutions could provide the central goods for the sake of which the state is often deemed necessary, including law protection from private criminals and national security. An orderly and livable society thus does not require acquiescence in the illusion of political authority. Find The Problem with Political Authority by Michael Huemer on Amazon and at all major bookstores. We go back to the phones where we have Parker, who's listening via the internet. Parker, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, so Ian, do you remember some time
This
ago,
is not Ian. This is Darryl. Ian is off tonight. Ian's generally off on Thursdays.
I'm not sure how you could mess that up. That is very, very different.
That's okay.
That's okay.
But go ahead. I'll pretend to be Ian for a moment, unless you want to ask me a question.
All right, so Darryl, have you seen this video, or have you heard from Ian about this thing that happened? Well, there's this video on YouTube that came out on January 23rd, 2016, where he and Mark Stevens were in this court battle against New Hampshire. I don't know what New Hampshire was prosecuting Ian for, but Mark Stevens was his legal counsel, and essentially what happened was Mark Stevens first asked the question: is there any evidence that the state of New Hampshire has that proves that my client is subject to the statutes and codes of New Hampshire? And
if this is the court case that I'm thinking it was not actually in a criminal court. It was at the Department of Safety in an administrative hearing where Mark Stevens was able to connect via some go-to-meeting sort of thing. And Mark Stevens was doing his typical ask, do you have facts that the laws apply to my client? And after about 30 minutes of not going anywhere, the administrative officer got up, walked over, and unplugged the television that Mark Stevens was connected through, and they continued the case with just Ian and no legal counsel.
Interesting.
So essentially they violated his, Fifth or Sixth Amendment right to legal counsel?
I don't know if you necessarily have a legal right to counsel in an administrative hearing.
Okay. Did he win the case or no?
No, he did not. And that's because in an administrative hearing at the Department of State, they do not have to find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. They just have to find it by a preponderance of evidence. And they deemed that there was enough evidence that Ian had lived in New Hampshire and did not have a New Hampshire driver's license. And so they said he had somehow violated a privilege of the road, and they were going to suspend his license if he did not get a New Hampshire driver's license. He was going through a name change at that time and wound up having some kind of thing to where he was charged with unsworn falsifications because he walked into the DMV with the name change paperwork and an application for Ian Freeman to get a driver's license. And they said, well, we need to see Ian Freeman's current driver's license or an updated birth certificate and Social Security card. And he said, I don't have those documents. They said, well, come back when you do. He went back the next day with the application filled out Ian Bernard, which was his name before the name change went through, and said, here's Ian Bernard's driver's license, and here's this document and that document. And they said, okay, here you go. And then a month or so later, he filed a name change to change the name on the driver's license. They changed the name, and then they charged him with unsworn falsifications because he went in 2 consecutive days with paperwork under 2 different names, and they said one of these was a false name, so therefore we're charging you with something. And I think he wound up being convicted of that and getting a suspended sentence.
Mm-hmm. So would the defense that Mark Stevens puts up that that Ian was privy to, or that he was being defended as, would that work in a speeding case?
I don't think that would work in any kind of case, because every time I've ever seen it tried or tried it myself or heard of anyone trying it, there's always threats of contempt of court. Always threats of contempt of court.
So Mark Stevens hasn't won with that? I'd have to listen on Saturday to his.
You would need to call Mark Stevens to find out, because I don't listen to all of his shows. So maybe he's won some cases somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, from what I've heard of people actually trying it themselves, it never works. Parker, thank you for the call. Your calls, your thoughts, welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Creating werewolves? Maybe. We'll tell you about it. This is Free Talk Live.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
For over 5 years, you've been hearing about the Berkey Guy, so you may know a few things about him. For example, you are well aware of the superior quality and effectiveness of Berkey water filters and accessories. But did you know the Berkeys have had independent lab tests done to prove just how effective they are? It's true, and he can email you the test results. Just visit GoBerkey.com. You may also know that the Berkey Guy has helped tens of thousands of people get better prepared. Now here's something you may not know. GoBerkey.com has amazing specials and deals all the time on a wide variety of survival and preparedness products. Most ready to ship same day. Visit the Berkey Guy at GoBerkey.com and be sure to click the red Products on Sale Now button. You can always call toll-free 877-886-3653. Again, that's 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com, home of the Berkey Guy.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And we go not to the phones, but to the Skypes. That's right, we have the Skypes. Every single one of them we have. Username is lrn.fm. And we've got the Liberty Phoenix on the Skypes. Liberty Phoenix, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you, gentlemen. You guys had a caller earlier, I believe before the break, that was talking about using Mark Stevens' techniques for challenging jurisdiction. He asked whether or not anyone actually won. And you don't really win with that technique. It has been successful on a couple of occasions. You're never going to get the judge to admit that they have no jurisdiction. It'll never happen.
Right.
What you can do is give them such a hassle that they simply dismiss it. But in order to do that, you have to file numerous motions. You have to do it in the proper order. You have to give it all their BS, pomp and circumstance. It can be effective, but it is a huge time sink. You're probably better off paying it, honestly, at this point. Like, you can do it, but if you want to spend 18 20 hours a week prepping for it,
right,
going over role playing and making absolutely sure that you have everything in line, and even then you're still going to get screwed over,
right?
Because I did it myself. I spent, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 weeks just prepping to challenge jurisdiction. Got all the way up to the moment. I asked all the right questions. The judge said, "Oh well, it's my legal opinion that they have established jurisdiction," and then I just threw me for a loop. And I'm like, "Oh, where do I go from there?" Not thinking, "Oh, hey," so I could just ask him, "Well, so is it so is this court? Are you telling me that this court is ruled by your own arbitrary opinion and not facts and rules?" So then I would have probably.
But courts are nothing but opinions. The actual rulings by the judges are considered opinions.
That's what they call them.
Absolutely.
Yep, 95+% plea dealing in this country. There's a reason for that, because it just doesn't make sense.
But I guess somebody would say that I'm being legalistic to say that the word opinion has a definition, and that if you call a judicial ruling an opinion, that it's basically just the whim of the people that are sitting there writing the words. That's what it is. It's the whim of the people that are writing the words. That's why it's called an opinion.
Absolutely. It can be effective. It's just you have to make the court jump through more hoops than you do.
Yeah.
Which is a pain in the butt.
And expensive.
Yeah.
Expensive, and depending on where you are, you might have to wind up paying money for the privilege of going to court to try to, be found not guilty. Luckily, here in New Hampshire, we don't have to pay any extra fees for taking something like a parking ticket to court.
The taxpayers have to pay, Darryl. Yeah.
For the operation of the court, absolutely.
Right, but no, like in California, there's a fee. If you want to take a parking ticket to court,
right,
you have to pay a fee for the privilege of going to court.
Yeah, if you're in California, move out of there. It's a crap hole.
Unless you love the government, in which case, stay in California, please.
Or move there.
Yeah, and don't be like that lady I was listening to on local radio who was talking about how California this, California that, and it's like, yeah, you know what? Just go back. You don't belong here.
More people leaving than...
Hopefully they all just move to California because they love the state. It becomes the new North Korea, and then the big one hits, and it all just falls into the ocean.
Arizona Bay. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, we here in New Hampshire have our own problem, and it's called Massachusetts.
Yeah, there's a special name for people from Mass, but it sounds too much like a word that you're not allowed to say on the radio, so I'm not going to say it. But speaking of, if you love Liberty coming to New Hampshire, Liberty Phoenix, you were here and then went back to the People's Republic of Chicagoland. When are you going to escape tyranny?
Oh, I figure it'll probably be about 10 years when my kids are old enough.
Yeah, completely understandable.
A 7-year-old that I can't, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I loved my time up there. I mean, that I was finally home. It was wonderful. Even all the infighting, that's part of liberty. You have to have that in order to figure out what everyone's true values are.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the greatest place I'd ever lived. But it's going to take me a while.
Yeah, understandable. Hopefully you come back soon because I did miss hanging out with you. Liberty Phoenix, thank you for the call. Chris, let's get back into talking about man, bear, werewolf, chicken, pig.
Ah, yes.
Cuisine.
Creating chimera.
Frankenpig.
Creating embryos that are both animal and human. And I think where we left it was with this. But some scientists and bioethicists worry the creation...
Hold on, but before you continue here, recap, because I honestly forget what we had covered so far, and anybody that's just tuning in has no clue what we've covered on this.
The story is from NPR,
fish
and it's been getting talked about, but a handful of scientists around the United States are trying to do something that has some people find disturbing, making embryos that are part human and part animal. So basically what they're doing is they are taking human embryos, injecting doing some gene splicing and some gene modification, and in the end, planting them within a animal, in this case a pig, with the hopes of being able to
harvesting organs.
That's the hope, and by using stem cells, they're trying to guide these groups of cells into specific things. So now,
human stem cells or pig stem cells?
Human stem cells, adult stem cells, not embryonic, the adult kind that anybody can give, and it's not coming from dead.
Hold on, so
babies.
Anybody, including you, Mr. O-negative blood?
Absolutely.
Specifically you and not me, because then anybody can take your pig pancreas.
Well, the goal here
there's very few people that could take my pig pancreas because I'm AB positive.
Well, the point is you could, and that's what they're shooting for. They're trying to get it to the point where through some procedure you could, if you needed a new liver, then they could grow you a liver in a pig, and because it was grown with your stem cells, the odds of rejection would be very, very low.
Why not just 3D print the stuff? It seems like it would be a lot faster.
Evidently, that technology isn't quite here yet. And we were talking about that in a break a while back. Every so often we get these. We're so headline driven anymore. It's like we can now. The technology is there to 3D print organs, and everybody sits there and go, "Wow, that's great! Don't have to worry about that anymore." And I guess that'll be around in another year or two. Well, how long have we heard that story?
I'm going to say
like 5 years.
The equipment involved, the complexity. Is going to cost some bucks for everyone to have their own 3D printer to create organs, and when you've got a pig over there, and we've got lots of them, it's already primed. It's already a machine capable of producing organs as long as you inject the correct formula.
Yeah,
and they can grow little a pancreas or a heart or something on some part of their body that they're not using. It makes too much sense.
All right, so we'll get back into this, but we do have someone on the line. We've got Darryl. It's actually my other brother, Darryl. We're just missing Larry now. Darryl, you're on Free Talk Live with Darryl, Chris, and Conan. What's on your mind?
Yeah, well, I remember yesterday, I think somebody was talking about that they were trying to apply for a business license in San Francisco and didn't understand the thing about sole proprietorship, LLC, and stuff like that.
That was actually someone that I was talking to in Las Vegas, to where and just to rewind, this person wanted to be an Uber driver. They were told that in order to drive, they needed a business license. And so when they started going through the process of getting the license, there were questions of, are you a sole proprietor? Are you an LLC? Are you a subcontractor? Are you this? Are you that? And they weren't sure because, like, Uber driver, is that technically a subcontractor of Uber? Are they a sole proprietor? Do they need to get some kind of LLC? So go ahead with your thoughts, Darryl.
Well, my thoughts is you wouldn't be probably a subcontractor, because if you're a subcontractor, that means that you're working for a contractor, like building a building or something.
You would be a contract worker.
Yeah, so it would most likely be that you would be a sole proprietor or an LLC, depending on how you had yourself set up. An LLC actually takes stuff that you have to go through, some paperwork to be recognized as an LLC. But for sole proprietor, you just say, hey, I'm a sole proprietor, and then at the end of the year, based on how much money you make, they either send you a 1099 or a 1099-K.
Yep.
And then,
if you've got more thoughts on this, we'll hold you over if you're willing. This is Free Talk Live. Your thoughts are welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Could you use up to $35,000? Whether it's for home improvement, car repairs, paying off taxes, debt consolidation, emergency funds, or any other reason, LoanUS.com can match you with a lender that can offer up to $35,000. Quick, convenient, and completely online. LoanUS.com works with lenders in all 50 states. You can get up to $35,000 as soon as the next day. Visit LoanUS.com now.
LoanUS.com connects you with lenders, but is not a lender or a broker and does not make lending or credit decisions. Loans may not be available for residents of some states. APR, loan term, loan amount, and other loan details may vary. See LoanUS.com for details.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Pure Life Water, helping you drink better and live better by providing a zero-calorie alternative to sugary drinks. Visit us at nestle-purelife.us. When kids are playing, they often don't want to stop to keep hydrated. So send them out with a bottle of water and encourage them to take frequent drink breaks or call them inside for a quick sip. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, May 19th, 2016. Silver is trading at $16.51 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,250 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $454. Antiwar.com reports reiterating similar warnings from late last week. Pentagon spokesman Colonel Steve Warren on Wednesday warned Iraq's government against responding to the latest round of the Islamic State bombings by redeploying more troops into the capital city of Baghdad. Colonel Warren said the Abadi government wanted to send more troops to Baghdad before, but that the Pentagon told them they need to keep their foot on the gas and leave their troops out in the field fighting the Islamic State forces on the front lines. Warren's previous warnings came after last Wednesday's massive the Islamic State bombings, and the new comments are a response to subsequent Tuesday bombings, which killed another 77 people across Baghdad and which are fueling growing unrest. The Abadi government was already facing public protest over the lack of reform, and those protesters are accusing them of deliberately not defending the city's residential areas, with what security is in Baghdad deployed primarily to keep protesters out of the green zone. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been your trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Orders Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg took time out of his busy business and philanthropic schedule on Wednesday to meet with several prominent conservatives and discuss the concerns of some that fear the influential social media giant leans too far to the left. The meeting occurred amid criticism from some in the conservative community that Facebook's offerings online, particularly news, have too great a liberal tone. The meeting, held at Facebook's Menlo Park, California headquarters, included conservative talk radio show host Glenn Beck. Zuckerberg wrote on his Facebook page after the meeting Wednesday, "This afternoon I hosted more than a dozen leading conservatives to talk about how we can make sure Facebook continues to be a platform for all ideas across the political spectrum," adding the reality is conservatives and Republicans have always been an important part of Facebook. Donald Trump has more fans on Facebook than any other presidential candidate, and Fox News drives more interactions on its Facebook page than any other news outlet in the world. It's not even close. Earlier this month, Senator John Thune said he sent a letter to Zuckerberg with concerns that the service is too liberal in its content. When her plush and comfy life suddenly and unexpectedly fell apart, Brooke and her dog Cloud set out to defy the odds. If this is a man's world, as they say, living on the streets is no place for a young woman. One day she awoke in the redwood forest and realized she had become a hobo, and would ultimately come to know exactly what it means to survive. How to Be a Hobo by Brooke Willett is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports the Chicago City Council on Wednesday agreed to pay $3.2 million to settle cases where two men were fatally shot by police officers who were part of a department now under fire for racial bias and excessive use of force. The settlements come as the third largest municipal police department in the United States grapples with a strained relationship between officers and minority communities, and a federal probe that was launched after the release last fall of a video showing a police officer fatally shooting a teenager. Bill McCaffrey, a spokesman for the city's law department, said Chicago had paid more than $500 million in police misconduct payments since 2004. Chicago City Council agreed to pay the family of Ryan Rogers $1 million. Rogers, a 27-year-old father of two, was shot in 2013 after he tried to drive away from his East Hazel Crest apartment, which police had been staking out as part of an investigation into a cell phone robbery ring. The council also approved $2.2 million in payment to the estate of Emmanuel Lopez. Lopez was 23 when he was shot in 2005 after he forced an off-duty police officer's vehicle into oncoming traffic, hit another car, and then pinned a different officer with his vehicle. The attorney for the Lopez family could not be reached for comment, though he previously said the officers had concocted a defense for shooting an unarmed man. Protests erupted in Chicago last year following the release of the video of Officer Jason Van Dyke's shooting of teenager Laquan McDonald. Van Dyke was charged with first-degree murder in November. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Overburdened with material comforts, America's wealthy can expect another disappointing holiday this year. As Brian Scott tells us, the rich will simply be buying too many things to experience the true meaning of Christmas.
All across the country, those at the top of the economic ladder are denied a privilege that the poorest of the poor take for granted. Rather than fall victim to the rampant consumerism that seems to increase each year, the poor find meaningful joy in simple Christmas traditions, like singing carols to keep warm and hugging relatives who have not yet died. At stores like these, the spiritually bereft must scramble for popular holiday toys in a vain attempt to duplicate the Christmastime happiness that the impoverished enjoy.
Poor people are grateful for just a roof over their heads or something to eat. My wife and I are both lawyers, so that's not enough for us. Certainly hope poor people don't take what they don't have for granted.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's hour number 3, and hopefully we will get back into this man, bear, dolphin, chicken, pig, human hybrid sort of give me a pancreas
It's alive!
thing. Because it's really interesting, and I do want to delve into it a little bit more. Us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Conan.
And let's go back to the phones. Again, 855-450-FREE. We've got my other brother, Darryl, calling in from Texas. And to sort of recap here, because Darryl did call in at the end of last hour about something that we were discussing on the show last night, about Uber in certain places, government's trying to shut them down, as they've done in Austin, Texas. But other places like Las Vegas, Nevada, apparently the law writers there are not as hard on Uber as they possibly could be. But they are telling Uber drivers, you need a business license. And I was in Vegas recently, and someone who wants to be an Uber driver said that they looked at the business license application and it asked, what kind of license do you need? But apparently did not define any of the terms. So it asked, are you a sole proprietor? Are you a LLC? Are you a corporation? Are you a subcontractor? Yeah. Are you a partnership? But did not really explain any of these terms. And so the person said, I just sort of...
I'm surprised this information isn't on Uber's main site, that they already haven't been hounded by this exact question.
That would be a good fact, wouldn't
it? What apparently is on the Uber site for drivers in Las Vegas is wait to find out if you like driving for Uber before you get your business license.
Except how do you do that if you're in, say, Austin, Texas, where you've got to go?
They're only talking when you're in Las Vegas and you go to the Uber Las Vegas website about driving in Las Vegas, they're giving you information about Las Vegas, not about Austin, Texas, or any other city other than Las Vegas.
Okay.
So, Darryl, please go on with your thoughts.
Like I was saying, pretty much is you would use an LLC even as a sole proprietor to avoid legal ramifications of getting sued. If you're in an industry where people tend to sue you for no reason because of high litigation.
Yep. Limited liability corporation. Limit that liability. Yep.
Yeah. And sole proprietorship is just one person. Like maybe you're running a food truck. Maybe you have a baseball card store and you're the only person there, or you have a couple employees. A limited partnership would be kind of like, it's like you and a buddy or you and your spouse, are running a business. And then the Class S and Class C corporations are higher corporations. And each level, as you go up, has more and more tax benefits based on what it's doing. With the sole proprietorship is you can actually do your taxes on your regular 1040 instead of having all these extra forms, because businesses have a separate special form that they have to file.
And I think LLC for a lot of small business owners is a nice compromise before going full blown into a S or a C corp. You don't have to maintain a board of directors. You don't have to, file your monthly or your board meeting minutes and things like that. But you still get the benefits, at least, of pass-through taxation. There's no dual taxation when you're dealing with an LLC, and you get that level of protection if you. It's a good way of separating yourself from your business. Would you agree?
Yes, and that's so. I would agree. That's so kind of like, let's say you have a company where you have an LLC where you own the company and you own a couple trucks. And so some idiot you hired, went through all the background checks, does something stupid and crashes the truck into somebody and gets you sued. Well, the company can get sued, but they can't sue you because they can show the company did its due diligence, but it's kind of like protect you from lawsuits like that.
And can't you also
liability on that?
Can't one individual also create an LLC?
One single individual could create an LLC, a corporation, an S corp,
right?
Anything other than a partnership or limited partnership, because you need more than one person for partnership. Hence the definition or the term.
Yeah.
But there I am being legalistic again by saying that words have definitions.
You
just
can't
let it go
tonight. My gosh.
Yeah, if you want to be a man-bear-pig corporation, you can do that too. So
it's probably already been taken.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how the bear or the pig would go about signing the documents. Darryl, thank you for the call.
Print. It's like writing an X. You can do your hoof print.
Right, but did they
paw
actually consent? Was this a conscious bear or a conscious pig? Did they have human stem cells injected into them so that their brain became aware?
Well, that is a concern. It certainly is a concern. So I'm going to continue with this, and the crux of the matter is the story about creating chimera, creating embryos that are both animal and human with the intent of growing organs inside of a host animal, like a pig. With
genetically modified animals that might possibly have human rights?
Yeah, but the big question behind this is, because of the ethical considerations, the National Institute of Health has imposed a moratorium on funding these experiments, while
moratorium on federal funding. Private funding can still be used for this.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we all know where the good money is federal.
Well, absolutely.
Them good grants.
And federal money can flow to those companies or organizations that are favored by the federal government. So I brought this story for two different reasons. Number one, I'm a science geek, and I love hearing about this stuff, and I think that we're going to find amazing advances in health through genetics and through.
And the other one is you just can't wait to taste human flavored bacon.
Long pig bacon. No. The other aspect of this is that they actually accurately point out that this doesn't stop funding. This stops funding by the federal government. And the ethical question to me, and this is sort of to the libertarians and anarchists and voluntarists, is, this is a free market. This is the epitome of a free market. This is doing something that somebody sees value in, and it may rub a lot of people the wrong way. Should there be a federal agency that either chokes the advancement by, convincing others to divert scarce resources away from it by imposing a moratorium, which sort of implies that this is really sketchy. You can't just go down this path because, heck, if it were all right, then wouldn't the federal government be behind it? That's kind of what kind of intrigued me about the whole story. I'm going to continue here. Nevertheless, a small number of researchers are pursuing the work with alternative funding. They hope the results will persuade the NIH to lift the moratorium. Quote, we're not trying to make a chimera just because we want to see some kind of monstrous creature.
We're trying to do it so that we can get stolen money, because that's where the good money comes from.
Let's let Pablo Ross continue with this quote. Reproductive.
About how he wants to use voluntary funding until he can convince some government agent to give him stolen funding.
Go ahead, continue with the story, Darryl, since obviously you're writing it as we speak.
Well, no, you just said.
No, that was my assertion. Let's see what Pablo Ross, a reproductive biologist at the University of California, Davis. We're doing this for biomedical research. The NIH is expected to announce soon how it plans to handle requests for funding. Recently, Ross agreed to let me visit a lab, not me, but the writer
the
of this
author
article.
of the article.
Yes, agreed to let me visit a lab for an unusual look at his research. During the visit, Ross demonstrated how he is trying to create a pancreas that theoretically could be transplanted into a patient with diabetes. The first step involves new generation gene editing techniques to remove the gene that pig embryos need to make a pancreas. Working under an elaborate microscope, Ross makes a small hole in the embryo's outer membrane with a laser, injects a molecule synthesized in a lab, and deletes the pancreas gene inside.
So would you say that he fired the lasers? 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What do you think about this man-pig pancreas thing? This is Free Talk Live.
Dentist office, may I help you?
Hi, I'd like to cancel my teeth whitening appointment.
Oh, may I ask why?
I found a teeth whitener that works in 5 minutes that I can do from home.
Can I ask what it is?
It's called Power Swabs, and it whitens your teeth in 5 minutes, doesn't leave my teeth feeling sensitive, and it's a lot less expensive than visiting the dentist.
Hi, I'm John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs, and if you want to whiten your teeth on average 2 shades in 5 minutes and 6 shades in 7 days, then try Power Swabs. There's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth and you're done. It removes stains on natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. Try Power Swabs risk-free. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387. I guarantee your friends and coworkers will be wowed by your new white smile. Try it risk-free and get free shipping and handling today. Dial 1-800-665-0387. That's 1-800-665-0387.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about this weird sort of thing to where somebody wants to make, well, what are you guys calling it? Chimera?
Chimera.
It's called chimera genetics, and it's basically mixing different organisms at the embryonic level, and in this case, this guy is trying to create a pancreas in a pig. But I mean, you can mix all kinds of combinations. It doesn't have to involve human at all. So
you could, in theory, mix. Like what they did with where they took the spider gene and put in the goat.
Yeah,
remember that one?
That's a chimera.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in
I
mythology,
thought it was called a spider goat.
In mythology, a chimera is a lion's body with an eagle head and a
That's a griffin.
Has a goat head.
No, there is.
That's a griffin.
I think it has like a snake tail.
We'll ask Google.
That you're describing a griffin.
No, a griffin is a lion with
eagle's wings,
eagle wings,
and
Wrong.
a snake tail.
They're all fictitious.
Continue
creatures.
telling us about this new fictitious creature known as man-bear-pig
it's
with
not
a pancreas.
Fictitious. It's not fictitious at all. They're actually making them.
We're still talking about the process here. So after the embryos have had their DNA edited this way, Ross creates another hole in the membrane.
Edited which way?
This is where he basically puts a small hole in an embryo's outer membrane with a laser, injects a molecule synthesized in a lab to home in on and delete the pancreas gene inside. So you've got a human embryo, you have lasered a hole in it, and you've injected a molecule that will go in and just delete the gene that would normally make a pancreas. So what he then does is he creates another hole in the membrane, and there he injects human-induced pluripotent stem cells, or iPS for short, into the pig embryos. Like human embryonic cells, iPS cells can turn into any kind of cell or tissue in the body. The researchers hope is the key word here, is that the human stem cells will take advantage of the void in the embryo to start forming a human pancreas. So in other words, all these genes are there except this pancreas gene is missing. And what the hope is that, okay, the stem cells will see that and go, up, there's nothing here for a pancreas. I'll go in and I'll make myself into that. Because iPS cells can be made from any adult skin cells, any organs they form would match the patient who needs the transplant, vastly reducing the risk that the body would reject the new organ.
The big question is, because now we're just hearing about this, so I think they feel safe enough that they can actually create something that is workable. But so how many years have they been working on this process? How many monstrosities have they created that they've had to throw straight into the blender, the garbage blender?
Maybe the federal government is buying those and putting it in with the chickens and feeding it to the elderly.
Hey, why waste good meat?
So basically,
we don't know if it's good meat.
I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but after they've implanted it, what they then do, and here's sort of the fail-safe that at least this guy Ross is doing, is that he waits for a few weeks and he watches these embryos. And what he's doing is injecting 25 embryos into each side of the animal's uterus. So he's got 50 going at a clip. He will then keep an eye on them. He's basically seeing if they turn the way he wants them to turn. And regardless, he lets them develop till the 28th day, and then they're brought out and they're dissected to see what happened inside.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people will see this headline and go, you're taking man embryos and pig embryos and you're scrambling around DNA, so we've got man pigs walking all over the planet. That's not the case. They're doing this for a short period of time because at that point they'll be able to tell whether they are going to start to form a new pancreas. That's the goal. But some of the things that are controversial and what they can't know is, okay, I've made this void for pancreatic genes, We're hoping that the stem cells do that.
We're hoping that it forms a pancreas.
What else are the human stem cells doing to that embryo? Are they taking over other functions?
That's the case. I mean, that's a potential case, I should say, is could they start to form a brain? And could you end up with a embryo that actually would develop into a pig/man?
And that was the question that they were asking on the radio show that I heard discussing this earlier today. And it brought up the question of, could you have a pig with human cognition to where the pig could actually verbalize, ow, that hurts, or I'm hungry, or I want to walk on my hind legs too.
Or maybe this is just the first step in creating a hybrid slave race to mine our gold.
I think the pig would say all pigs are equal. All animals are equal. Some are
Where's my safe space, human?
No,
4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Oh, is it
but
better?
I think that's I have no idea how this research is actually going. I haven't seen it, but it sounds like they are putting in some fail safes, and they're recognize that they're very clear, and I think Ross is quoted in here. We're not trying to play God.
Really?
We're not creating. No, and I don't believe that they are. Playing God is creating life out of nothing. And I get that, and that's scary for a lot of people. But to use our scientific advances to try to cure people that need very scarce resources, livers and kidneys and things like that, with virtually zero chance of rejection by the body, that's great stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and definitely we will continue the conversation, but we do have some calls on the line here. Let's go first to Conan. This is your buddy calling in from Arizona. James, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Oh, Minister Perry, you think you profess to be a believer that peace is your way, love is your guide, yet somebody called in and said they want to kick my sassafras on the air, and rather than roundly condemn them, you actually suggested, well, I hope it'd be consensual, maybe we can even film it or something like that. But anyway, that's the end of my beef with you. It wouldn't be the only time you bear false witness about what and who you are on the public airwaves.
Well, if two people are going to fight one another, it should be a consensual combat. I don't want somebody being assaulted.
Sir,
a victim.
I didn't challenge somebody to a fight, nor have I ever said
I didn't say you did challenge anybody to a fight. Somebody said they wanted to beat you up, and I said, if there's a fight, I hope it's consensual.
Yeah, thanks for having my back, Minister Peace and Love.
I think I would say that's having your back.
Right. Saying that I don't want you being assaulted unless you agree to combat.
Not to me, Conan, or was that Chris? I don't know which one it was.
That was Conan, and nobody's wanting you to get assaulted, James. That's why I said only if it's consensual. If there's going to be combat, it should be consensual, and then it's not assault. It's two people competing in consensual combat. Like MMA fighting, to where two people agree to it beforehand. This is Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Purchase a ProPure system during the Crazy May sale and get a free ProMax shower filter or water filter pitcher. Remove up to 200 contaminants with the Pro 1G 2.0 truly cleanable, reusable filter. We don't stretch our claims, we just deliver performance. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Free Talk Live.
What's the difference between a stoplight and a school bus?
A stoplight is a light, and a school bus is a school bus.
Full of children.
Right. So
that's a good
the light
one.
doesn't have any kids in it.
That's That's what you call a educated derelict.
Yeah,
You gotta come out of Harvard.
I'm really not a derelict. I work for a
You
living.
are an educated derelict. Well,
Barbara,
you know what?
I agree with
Have
you.
fun, play your game.
No.
Because I'll tell you what, When
Barbara.
you pass that next red light, I sure hope they get you good. And I
Barbara,
hope you don't kill anybody.
I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, she hung up on you, Mark.
But I agree with you, Barbara. I was telling you that I agree with you except for the stoplight thing.
Children, Mark, there's children around. At every red light, you could possibly kill someone.
This, by the way, gentlemen.
If you would run a red light at 3 in the morning when there's no traffic as far as the eye can see, then you would just as soon run over a school bus and kill all the kids inside.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Thursday, gold is down $12 at $1,247 per ounce. Silver is 53 cents lower at $16.40 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $448 Compared to Monday's open, gold is down $30 and silver off by 80 cents. This is a great time to buy on the dip. Give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you know that Bernie Sanders has come to represent the new socialist movement in America. This gives us an incredible opportunity to address his supporters in a rational, courteous, and dignified way. Fortunately for us right now, we have Roger Ver on the side of freedom, and he has laid out an incredible challenge. Adam Kokesh has agreed to meet Bernie Sanders in any city in America on any day between now and the end of the year 2016 for a friendly debate on socialism versus voluntarism, in which Bernie Sanders can choose an objective moderator. To sweeten the deal, Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus, has offered that upon completion of a 3-hour debate where hopefully nobody gets stranded on an island with the professor and Marianne, both men will have equal time in that 3-hour debate, and at the conclusion, Roger Ver will donate $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of each man's choice, $50,000 apiece. Learn more about this debate and hopefully pressure Bernie into accepting. Go to bernie.freetalklive.com. That's bernie.freetalklive.com.
Question, Darryl, since you are in fact a presidential candidate for the libertarian
side
of the coin, Is it the
three-sided dice.
coin? Yeah.
The 5-sided, the multi-sided dice.
Die.
Have you?
Die is the singular. Dice is the plural.
I'm saying you're one of the sides of many dice.
This guy.
Okay.
This guy. Kokesh he's a good guy, well-spoken guy and all, but I think I would. But he's not running for president. You are. I mean, wouldn't it be much more advantageous for the Libertarian Party and for you and for liberty in general if you were the one to carry on the debate? And we already know that you're capable because that's all you've been doing for the past month and a half, 2 months.
I'd say probably closer to 3 or 4.
Yeah, traveling all over the states.
I'd be willing to debate Bernie. I'd be willing to debate any of the presidential candidates from any party.
Maybe you should shoot this guy. And I'm thinking Bernie would be much more likely to take you on as in a debate than some no-name Kokesh.
No, Bernie Sanders is probably not going to debate anybody that's not a Republican or a Democrat.
But it would be more meaningful if the competition was between 2 presidential candidates. Kokesh is not.
In theory.
So that's just my 2 cents.
I was not
like
involved in the setting up of this offer for the $100,000 debate challenge, but I'm certainly willing to debate any of the presidential candidates.
What would your charity be? You would be debating for?
Either Bitcoin Not Bombs, Antiwar.com, or Shire Sharing.
Okay, just curious. I thought I'd toss that out there.
Those are goodies.
Yeah, those are all good charities. Is there more on this man-bear-pig thing?
Well, no, I think we've covered the key points of the argument.
Okay, then let's go to the phones.
I guess I'm done.
You said we've covered the key points of the argument, so let's go to the phones. Actually, to the Skypes. We've got Brian, I believe, calling in from California. Is it, Brian?
Yeah, that's right.
You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey guys, since I heard you guys talking about chimeras, I wanted to call in to see if I thought it'd be a fun romp to apply the libertarian theory of rights and self-ownership.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so let me ask you: if I make a chimera with a human body and a spider brain, and it's able to breed with other humans, right?
We don't know if it would be able to breed with other humans, so we don't know if that's right.
May have a hard time getting
giving you that's the condition of the hypothetical, right?
Okay, so human body with a spider brain, do we allow it to do anything? Or do we just shoot it in the head right when it's born?
And it can breed with other humans. Does it own itself and does it have rights?
Is it able to think?
Obviously it has a spider brain, right?
Right.
But it's technically, since it can breed with us, it's part of our species.
I don't know that the rules of being a human are your capability of breeding.
And I think it would be a different species, would it not?
No, I think the definition of species is that it's able to breed with. I'm not sure. I'm not a biologist, but I think the criteria is that it can breed with within the species.
I don't know, because coyotes can breed with wolves, and they're technically different species.
I think the rule is self-awareness. Right. I don't know if this spider brain would be able to...
Okay, so the minimum standard you claim is self-awareness.
I think we're all confused as to how we would actually define a species, number one, and
I'm
whether
confused
it's
why
cognitive.
somebody would put a spider brain in a human.
It might happen.
It's just a condition.
No, this guy might produce.
It's completely hypothetical, but if you're going to have a hypothetical, at least have something that makes some kind of sense.
Maybe one of these pig embryos has a human brain, so it's a pig with a human brain.
But that's not Brian's
either way,
hypothetical. Brian's hypothetical is a human with a spider brain.
Okay, so let's let Brian continue, because I want to hear where this is going. Go ahead, Brian.
Why is your theory so limited, though? Why do you confine me to? Why do you restrict my hypotheticals to certain things you can only deal with when you don't want to deal with the hard things?
No, right. I'm not trying to do that, Brian. I'm trying to understand
I'm trying to figure out why somebody would do this thing that you're asking about a hypothetical. No, here's the thing, Brian. When you're asking people about hypotheticals, that if this were to happen,
hypothetical, though?
Hold on. You should at least deal in something that would make some kind of sense.
It does, because this thing can't
because
happen.
somebody. I'm going to mute you here.
No.
I'm not hanging up.
All
I'm
right,
not hanging
please.
up. Just muting so that I can get a clear thought. My question is, why would someone do this thing that you're asking about in the hypothetical? If there's no legitimate reason for it, then I'm not playing your hypothetical game.
Stop, Chris. How many of these embryos is this guy putting together at a time?
Like 50.
Like 50 at a time, just to see what would happen. Yeah. Something is going to happen.
Right, but he's not putting a spider brain in a human. That's part of the hypothetical, and I'm trying to figure out why. At least this guy has a reason why he's doing this thing. I'm trying to figure out.
They don't know what the stem cells are going to do to this embryo.
But they know that they're not putting spider stem cells in a human being to develop a brain.
They don't know what'll happen. It might create just that formula. That might be what comes out.
None of the things that Chris said were spider.
I'm okay with the hypothetical.
Well, yeah, I am too.
No, so my question. Here's my question. Because we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to have a pig grow a human pancreas. Nobody is trying to have a human grow a spider brain.
Right,
so my
but that
question
might happen. It might happen.
My question is, at least we know why this person is trying to do the thing they're trying to do. My question to Brian is, why would somebody try to create a human with a spider brain?
That's not the question.
I need to know the why before I can play the hypothetical, and if I don't know the why, then I'm not playing the stupid game.
Well, I'll play the game.
Stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm unmuting Brian, and you two guys can talk to him.
All right, Brian. We are going to accept your premise that for some reason unknown to us,
I don't think Darryl does.
That's okay. Darryl's not playing.
I'm not playing this round.
Right.
You can even make it an accident, for God's sakes. For God's sakes.
Okay.
Why does your theory...
It would certainly be some kind of weird, horrible accident. I agree with that, but I'm still not playing your game.
We're going to have to mute Darryl.
First of all, my theory deals with all hypotheticals you can throw in. Okay, so that's one thing why rights and self-ownership are already inferior compared to... And just the fact that you're doing everything you can to just avoid this hypothetical just shows like you're scared of the analysis.
So who are you talking to? Because I'm the one who's trying to entertain your thoughts and understand where you're coming from.
It's more directed to Darryl because it seems like he's scared to see the how inconsistent you guys are going to get.
No, I'm not scared to see anything.
Scared of man spiders, as any man would be.
That. Plus, things that make absolutely no sense are useless to me. Let's continue with this and your thoughts, possibly 855-450 free. This is Free Talk Live.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Are you sneezing, coughing, and aching? Do you have a sore throat, a fever, or the sniffles? There's no reason to be sick this cold and flu season with immune system support from Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver can give your body the help it needs to fight off harmful pathogens without hurting beneficial gut flora and without leaving behind resistant bacteria. Antibiotics can damage good microflora and often leave behind bacteria which can cause problems later on. If you're sick of being sick, try Supernatural Silver. Supernatural Silver, the #1 choice of thousands for a safe and effective way to protect against the many diseases and illnesses that we are facing today. Go to supernaturalsilver.com, read our customer reviews, and see the life-changing results that people are having. That's supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. Use the promo code PROTECTED for 20% off your entire order. And like us on Facebook, Supernatural Silver.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
If you want to move to the free state and you're looking for some real estate.
Oof, I think we've all had enough of that jingle, don't you? If you're going to invest in property in New Hampshire, it just makes sense to support a Liberty-friendly realtor. Call Mark Warden of Team Porcupine Real Estate for investment property or rentals in the Free State. Or visit his website. Come on, you know it.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Still possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in right now. And we've got Brian on the phone, and he's wanting to play a hypothetical game. And I've already said that because his hypothesis is based on something that is completely illogical, I will not be playing along, but Chris and Conan are going to be playing. So let's bring Brian back on. Brian, you're on. Continue your hypothetical game with Chris and Conan.
Okay, so we've bred this man spider, right?
Yep.
And I've looked up species. Just on Wikipedia, species is often defined as the largest group of organisms in which 2 individuals are capable of reproducing fertile offspring.
Okay, so your hypothetical includes the fact that sexuality was not affected, at least on the human side of this new organism. Correct?
Yes.
They can still breed with humans. Okay.
Okay, so that's the definition of a species, but that's not the question. The question is, do we allow this man spider to breed with humans?
No, that wasn't the question. The
What's the question?
Is, how do I apply rights and self-ownership to this thing?
Okay, then that's where I went in. That's where I went into self-awareness,
Right.
and you can use the Turing test to decide whether this man spider is actually capable of self-awareness and is actually his own entity, his own being.
Okay.
So you're claiming self-awareness is a standard, right? So, and you're also claiming this is one of my questions, but so as far as applying self-ownership and rights to self-awareness, is it the fact that every being you come across has to have self-awareness, or is it species dependent, right? So if one or many of the species has self-awareness, does that give rights to the entire species? Because obviously some humans probably aren't self-aware because maybe they're somewhat brain dead. Do they lose their rights once you're brain dead?
In some cases, they absolutely do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not questioning. You're jumping to a conclusion that because rights or whatever, and all I'm doing is saying that the more we understand about the situation, the better I could make my own personal decision. And that's not saying that everything that is cognizant must have equal rights, or if it doesn't possess awareness, then it's automatically, meat for my table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to better understand. That's what I would do. I would try to gather all the possible facts before I came to some conclusion. And I think you're lumping me in.
You're believing in something and you're having I'm just trying to find out what the actual criteria is for self-ownership, some objective criteria, because if you can't provide it, seems to me it's almost arbitrary, right? So what if, let me ask you this, let me change this hypothetical, right? What if obviously you claim monkeys don't have self-awareness, right? They don't have rights.
I haven't claimed anything.
Do you think that?
I don't think that.
I've never met every monkey.
Okay, what about pigs? They're pretty smart.
They are pretty smart.
So are dogs and cats.
Right.
Did you just eat Did you eat any pigs today?
I did.
Actually, I did eat pig
I had
today.
a pork chop. It was
okay.
delicious.
Do you think they're self-aware?
Not that one. Not when I ate it.
Not when you. It's because it was killed already. Does that make it all right?
I don't know.
Are you
I didn't know the
applying
pig
your standards
beforehand.
correctly here? It's kind of. So if I kill somebody and eat him, does that make it okay because he's dead?
I don't know. I don't know if it's certainly taboo in our culture to eat long pig. But here's what I'm going to ask you. Are you lumping me because I'm on a particular radio show with the opinions that you've made of everybody else who's on this radio show?
I'm assuming that all you three believe in rights and self-ownership.
Well,
libertarian theory, right?
I do believe in rights. And let me put it this way. I believe that there are certain things that are part of the human condition that from me being born, then there's certain things that I am capable of. And
so it's species dependent, right? Not really self-awareness.
No, I'm just saying me as a human, there are certain things that are part of the human condition that seem to be endowed upon me. Whether that's by a creator.
Rights? Are you talking about self-ownership and rights?
I think I have a right to defend myself. Let's use a specific example. I have a right to defend myself.
I've asked this before. What does it mean to have a right and not the ability to do so, right?
Well,
if I tie you down, make you my slave and rape you.
What is it with you and this weird rape fantasy, Brian? I'm going to get rid of it. No, well, we've got another call.
Okay, well, we'll continue, Brian.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Call back another night and just stop with the weird rape fantasies.
All right, let me take his question to Chris. All right, so what is the difference between having a right to defend yourself and the right to just do whatever the hell I want to do?
No, that's not his question. His question is the difference between a right and an ability. If I were to chop off Chris's hands and chop off Chris's feet and say, you have the right to feed yourself and you have the right to clothe yourself.
But I no longer have that ability.
But you no longer have the
took that from
ability.
me.
So his question is, what's the difference between a right and an ability? But he always goes with this weird rape fantasy, and it makes no sense. I don't know why he's infatuated with raping people. Let's go to the phones. We've got Bob in Baltimore. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Don't feel like you're alone. I don't know what the odds are, but during the past year, I've been privy to being on hold to listen to the rape thing from the same guy. I mean, honestly, what are the odds, right?
Oh, I feel for you.
Well, with odds like that, Bob, you should probably buy some lotto tickets.
Wow. I mean, it's just creepy. Anyway, this whole conversation about the interspecies breeding, boy, it's one that you can't miss any part of it. I've been doing a number of things tonight. I've had to step away. And I come back and I catch bits and pieces, and boy, it just took leaps and bounds from, basically a science where you would build organs and then to spider brains and sex between bugs and people. Anyway, like I said, it's a slippery slope, and you got to hear the whole thing. So I'm going to download it and listen to it. But you had me laughing with the why. That's from my career, and especially lawyers will know this, you never want to ask the question why to someone on the witness stand, because you like to know the answer before you ask the question. You don't want to ask a question that you don't know what the answer is going to be.
You never know what you're going to get.
And just like in a criminal case, motive, it's nice to have, but, it's not really necessary. The who, what, when, and where, they're important. The why, it's always a funny thing. I would tell you this, man is, at his base level, a depraved being, or certainly can lean in that direction. We all know that. So, you had me laughing with the why thing. And let me leave you with one maxim of law to ponder. If I recall it correctly, it goes like this: to whom nothing is base, nothing is ever sufficient.
Nice.
So ponder that, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.
Thanks
Bob, thank you very much for the call. And, well, we're almost out of time. We got about 2 minutes to kill. So I've got an interesting story here that we'll touch on. There was an Ivy League economist who was doing math on an airline. The passenger sitting next to him was confused and a little concerned about these weird markings on the paper that she did not understand. And so she wrote a note on a scratch piece of paper, handed it to
on a napkin,
the flight
lipstick.
attendant. And the flight attendant went up and said something to the pilot, and they're sitting at the runway, or they're on the tarmac, and they're sitting there, and they're sitting there, and they're sitting there. And then they come back, and the flight attendant asked the math professor to get off the plane, and he's like, what? And then he went and had a very nice long chat with some TSA agents.
Did he have? Did he have dark skin?
I was going to ask, was he a white fellow, or was he of a certain ethnicity?
Did he have?
He's Arabic.
Did he have an accent? Yes, there you go.
Yes.
And he was also speaking Arabic on the telephone to his uncle. And, yeah, the lady got concerned because she heard this guy speaking a language that she did not understand, and she didn't recognize the scribblings on his papers. He was doing advanced math.
Okay. Now, what would you have done, Darryl? How would you have handled this situation? You're sitting right now, because you've been traveling a lot.
Okay,
the last couple of weeks.
Here's what I do. When I get on the airplane, I turn on the air vent so it blows on me nice and cool. I put on my sunglasses, and then I fall asleep.
Yeah, I'm big on that.
That's what I do on airplanes.
I would have gone.
And then generally I warn the person next to me, hey, I've been told I talk, so if I'm talking to you while I'm asleep, yeah, I'm not actually talking to you.
Go ask the guy what he's doing. Just go ask him.
Or just mind your own business. Hey, this is Free Talk Live. We're out of time for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Free Talk Live.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement, and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the